Someone's outside. The first knock is soft enough that Jenna isn't sure it really happened. She pauses mid-brushstroke, white latex dripping from her roller onto the porch floorboards, and listens. Nothing but summer cicadas humming beyond the treeline. She shakes off the prickle up her spine, blames it on working too late after sunset, and rolls another coat of paint onto the ancient railing. Knock, knock. This time, 2 sharp taps bounce through the dusk like thrown marbles. Jenna lowers the roller. Her husband, Ben, won't be back from his shift at the paper mill for another hour, and their nearest neighbor lives half a mile down the unlit road. She wipes her hands on her shorts and edges to the front door. A new screen door arrived this morning, still boxed in the hallway, so the entry stands bare, showing only the warped oak door with its frosted glass oval. She peers through the glass's milky swirl. No outline of a body, just the faint suggestion of the driveway, the gravel pale under moonlight. She opens the door a crack. Warm night air, heavy with pine sap, brushes her face. "Hello?" she calls. Silence. Jenna steps onto the top stair, clutching the roller like a club. Her porch light hangs gutted. Ben ordered bulbs, but they haven't arrived, so the overhang casts a thick shadow. The yard is a flat slab of darkness. Stars glimmer overhead. No cars, no footsteps, nothing. She retreats inside, locks the door, and laughs at herself. "Too many late-night podcasts," she mutters, resuming her painting. Knock, knock, knock. Harder now. Knuckles, or something, pounding directly on the glass behind her. She spins. 3 smeared oily prints gleam on the frosted pane. She hadn't touched it, and Ben always uses the knob. "Who's there?" she demands, voice cracking. No answer. She backs toward the kitchen, fingers shaking as they fish her phone from her back pocket. No service, of course. The mill's old property sits in a valley that eats cell signals. The house pops as it cools, timber snapping like joints. Jenna's heart tries to keep pace. She thinks of driving to town, but Ben took the truck. The sedan died last winter. She is alone, in a fixer-upper miles from anyone. With someone. Something. Outside. She remembers the boxed screen door. An idea flickers. Brand new aluminum mesh, still factory wrapped. It could cover the entry until Ben gets home. She drags the box toward the doorway, tearing off cardboard with paint-streaked hands. The doorbell rings, except they don't have a doorbell. A low electronic chime reverberates through the hall, sweet and polite. Impossible. The previous owner ripped out every fixture years ago. Jenna freezes, clutching a metal hinge. Ding-dong. The chime again, nearer, as if just behind her at the end of the hallway. She twists around. The hallway is empty, the staircase a dark rib cage. Moonlight spills through its landing window. No figure. No wires. Then she hears breathing. Shallow, raspy, right outside the oak door. Jenna drops the hinge and bolts. She races to the pantry, digs beneath cereal boxes for Ben's emergency tool bag, and pulls out the rust-flecked revolver he swore was unloaded. She checks. 2 ancient rounds still sit in the cylinder. Her father taught her to shoot soda cans at 13. Muscle memory returns like a cold glove. The breathing stops. For 10 seconds, the house is a tomb. Jenna inches forward, revolver raised. She steps into the entryway. The oily handprints are gone. The glass is spotless. A whisper snakes through the mail slot. "Jenna, let me in." Her knees buckle. She does not recognize the voice, yet it speaks with the familiarity of an old friend. Intonation perfect, casual, coaxing. She imagines someone crouching, lips to the slot, tasting her fear. The voice repeats, softer. "It's cold out here." It isn't. The night is muggy, 85 degrees at least. Jenna's throat tightens. Another knock quakes the glass, then another, faster, like frantic code. She aimed the revolver at the oval and shouts, "I'm armed. Leave now or the cops will be here in minutes." No reaction. Instead, the knocking becomes scratching, a fingernail dragging circles on glass, a thin scrape that slides low, then high, methodically mapping every inch of the pane. The world tilts. In the spinning haze, she remembers an old rumor. The mill once dumped chemicals into the groundwater. Kids at school claimed it created shadow people in the pines, figures that mimicked voices and lived between the tree trunks. She laughed then. Scratch, scratch, scratch. The sound stopped suddenly at the top of the oval, 6 feet off the ground, too high for someone hunched at the slot. Something tall. Glass shatters. A jagged web blooms across the oval, shards clinking to the floor like ice in a glass. Jenna fires. The blast deafens her, lighting the hall with orange. The recoil slams her wrist. Smoke and plaster dust hang in the air. But the door still stands. Oval cracked but intact. Beyond it, a silhouette. Not flesh, but something darker than the dark, edges pulsing as if ink were trying to decide its shape. 2 pale ovals hover where eyes should be. It presses a hand, long, jointless fingers, against the glass. Hairline cracks widen. Jenna cocks the revolver for the second round. Click, misfire. The silhouette leans forward, mouth opening on the other side. A tongue of shadow slides through a split in the glass, tasting the room like a serpent. Jenna flings the revolver, grabs the boxed screen, and rams it against the door frame, wedging it tight. The aluminum fills the gap. She bolts for the back door off the kitchen. Locked. She fumbles with the deadbolt, rusty, stiff. The front door rattles now, a wet squeal of metal on wood. In one desperate jerk, she throws open the back door and sprints into the yard. Moonlight washes the grass. Her flip-flops slap mud. She heads for the workshop shed 50 feet away, its windows boarded, its padlock dangling because Ben forgot to latch it after hauling lumber. Behind her, the oak door crashes. Wood splinters. Something heavy trudges onto the porch, boards creaking under impossible weight. Jenna dives into the shed, slams the door, and hooks the padlock through the hasp. No key required. Darkness swallows her. The shed smells of oil and cedar. She finds Ben's camping lantern, thumbs the ignition. White light flares. Tools hang from pegboard like silver teeth. Through a split in the board, she sees it. Not someone. A smear of human outline stalking the yard, shoulders sloped, limbs too long. It glides rather than walks, feet an inch above grass. The head swivels toward the shed. Jenna extinguishes the lantern, breath shallow. The thing stops 10 yards away. It tilts its head, bird-like. A hiss escapes its shape, plastic and radio static. Jenna clamps a hand over her mouth. Suddenly it turns and drifts toward the house. She watches as it slips through the shattered front entry like smoke, disappearing inside. Minutes crawl by. Cicadas drone. A distant coyote yips. Jenna's legs cramp, but she doesn't move. Lantern off, gun lost somewhere in the hall. Inside the house, lights flick on. Living room, hallway, bedroom. One by one, the lamps she unplugged earlier blaze as if someone shattered each bulb, then forced light through broken filaments. Blue-white glow pulses through curtains. Then the record player in the den starts up. An old Ella Fitzgerald vinyl Ben bought at a flea market. The needle scrapes and music warbles slow, distorted. Ella's voice stretched, words dissolving into moans. The kitchen light flickers. The fridge door opens. Glass shatters.
cabinets slam. Through shed slats, Jenna sees drawers yanked out, silverware raining onto tile. Something searches, rummages, throwing objects like a temperamental child.
It stops. Silence clots the air. Jenna's phone vibrates in her pocket, a text even without service. Unknown number. I see you. She drops the phone. It lands face up. 3 bouncing dots appear. It's typing again. Come back inside. You forgot to lock the shed window. She whips around. Along the back wall, a small window hardly bigger than a shoebox gapes open. Ben pried it loose last week for airflow. A slow, syrupy shadow oozes through the gap, pooling on the sill. Jenna bolts for the pegboard, grabs the longest tool, Ben's framing hammer. She swings at the shadow. The metal passes through smoke, striking wood with a thunk. The shadow recoils, then condenses, forming a gloved hand. Fingers snap outward, and the hammer yanks from her grip into darkness. The shadow hand pushes further, wrist stretching, elbow emerging like night poured into a man-shaped mold. Jenna backs away, feet tangling in extension cords. Her eyes dart for escape. Above, a skylight. Ben cut the roof last month for ventilation, covered only by a loose tarp. She drags a workbench beneath it, climbs. The shadow arm now shoulders through, chest squeezing like tar through a funnel. She tears away the tarp. Cool night explodes in. Climbing onto the roof, shingles hot against palms, she scuttles to the peak. From here she sees everything. The house glowing like a jack-o'-lantern. Windows melted. Shadows writhing behind glass. Below, the shed door bangs open. The silhouette emerges, taller now, body sharpening with edges, as if reality begrudgingly sketches bones beneath smoke. It raises her lost hammer to its head, tap tap on its temple, mocking. Jenna edges down the far side of the roof and leaps, landing hard in wet leaves. Pain lances her ankle, but she runs, limping toward the tree line, heart detonating in her chest. Branches whip her arms. She plunges into pine darkness. Behind her, the thing does not chase. It glides, soundless except for the faint jingle of Ben's key ring it must have taken. Every few seconds, a ring of keys clinks, closer each time. Jenna bursts into the clearing where the old rail line cuts through the valley. Moonlight silver plates the iron tracks. She remembers a maintenance hut half a mile north with an emergency radio. If she can reach it. Keys jingle nearby. She sprints along the track, wooden ties thudding underfoot. The silhouette floats between pines, keeping pace without touching ground. It doesn't hurry. It only needs her to tire. Ahead, the rail bridge spans a dry creek. Underneath, jagged rocks wait. Jenna's lungs burn. Halfway across, the bridge planks creak and one gives out. She stumbles, catching herself on a beam. Her ankle screams. She glances back. The thing stands at the bridge's mouth, arms dangling. Slowly, it raises one hand and points down, toward the drop. An invitation. No, she rasps. It tilts its head. The revolver appears in its other hand. It aims, almost curious. Click. The misfired round detonates. Wood shatters inches from Jenna's foot. She flings herself forward, crawling the last stretch. Behind, footsteps now, real, heavy, thump on planks. The silhouette's boots. It has feet now. Jenna reaches solid ground, collapses among ferns. The maintenance hut's tin roof glints ahead. She drags herself upright, hobbles to the door, palm scrabbling the latch. Locked. Keys jingle behind her, closer, impatient. Tears blur her vision. She slams her shoulder against the door. Rusty hinges groan. The latch bends. Again. Wood splinters. A whisper behind her ear. I waited all night. She throws herself through the gap, landing on concrete. The hut reeks of creosote. A dusty emergency panel blinks red, low power but alive. She slams the SOS switch. A siren bursts into the night, a wailing beacon that echoes down the tracks.
Outside, the silhouette recoils from the piercing sound. Its form flickers, edges unraveling. The siren intensifies, strobing light through broken slats. The thing shudders, smoke peeling like burnt paper, revealing glimpses of forest through its chest. It raises the hammer, tries to smash the panel through the slats, but the current repels it with a crack of static. The silhouette howls. White noise and insect chirps blended into a scream. Light tears holes in its frame. With each flash, more pieces flake off until it collapses into a puddle of ink that hisses on the dirt, then seeps away between sleepers, gone. The siren drones. Jenna sinks against the wall, sobbing, blood pulsing in her ears. Minutes pass. Finally, distant headlights bloom on the tree line. Ben's truck. He runs up the track, shouting her name. She tries to rise, but her ankle refuses. He reaches the hut, eyes wide at the smashed door and the still blaring alarm. What happened? Jenna, what happened? She stares at him, mouth open, but only a whisper escapes. Someone's outside. Behind Ben, shadows gather at the pine's edge, drawn by the siren song. Shapes furl and unfurl, as if deciding what faces to wear. Ben helps her up, oblivious. We have to go, she says. He looks over his shoulder, puzzled. Go where? There's no one out. One shape detaches from the dark, glides forward, newly minted eyes glimmering like coins under moonlight. Ben's words die in his throat. The siren falters, battery draining. Its wail slows, pitch dropping, heartbeat stalling. With every beat of fading light, more silhouettes step onto the tracks, heads cocked to listen. And in the final flicker before the world goes black, Jenna understands. The first knock was never a request to come in. It was a warning.